Live from the WTXL studios, this is ABC 27's News at Noon.
A state in mourning. The news coming today of the passing of former Florida Governor Ruben Askew. Good afternoon, I'm Greg Angel. Thank you for joining us. The former governor had been in ailing health. He was surrounded by friends and family when he passed away this morning at Tallahassee Memorial Hospital at the age of 85. In office from 1971 to 1979, he's remembered this noon by what his colleagues say was his integrity, popularity, and pioneering leadership and forward-thinking leadership on civil rights, tax reform, and government accountability. WTXL ABC 27's Abby Maurer has continuing coverage this noon of the life of Governor Ruben Askew.
Those close with former Florida Governor Ruben Askew say the 1970s wouldn't have been the same if he hadn't have been the state's chief executive.
He was one of Florida's greatest governors and, in fact, considered one of the greatest governors of the 20th century by Time magazine.
But Governor Askew's contributions span decades. Before taking over the governor's mansion in 1971, he represented the Pensacola area in the Florida Senate. After leaving office, he served as U.S. Trade Ambassador in the Carter administration and held an eminent scholar chair at the Ruben Askew School of Public Administration and Policy at Florida State University.
His closest family and friends hold him in their prayers and ask people to do the same thing.
Askew's health had been deteriorating in recent months. Over the past 3 months, he had suffered from aspiration pneumonia, hip surgery, and most recently a stroke. He was admitted to TMH on Saturday, but passed away Thursday morning with family by his side, including his wife of 57 years, Donna Lou.
And I want to bring in political analyst Kevin Cate here. How would you say his legacy is going to be defined?
Well, I think Governor Askew, this is a huge loss for Florida, but if you look at everything that Florida gained from his term in office and his time in the state legislature, what we had was a state moving forward at a critical time in our state's history in the 70s. He was a progressive governor, and that legacy lives on today.
These were big issues he had to tackle during the 70s when he was in office. Segregation and a lot of ethics and questions of politics at the time there.
Right, and it wasn't always popular what he was doing. You talk about civil rights and desegregating schools, busing students. Those were huge issues that weren't always popular here in Florida. This was the New South coming, and things like the corporate income tax. This was a very progressive governor at a time when Florida was looking for a more populist approach to governing the state.
Interesting thing here, the John F. Kennedy School of Government at Harvard University had rated him one of the nation's top 10 governors of the 20th century. That's no small award, no small achievement there. What set him apart from other governmental leaders?
Well, I think, number one, I actually teach a class at FSU, and last year we honored Governor Askew. It was a beautiful moment. He kept reiterating ethics and integrity and talked about good government. If you want good government, you need good people there. And that was his essence. He was a good person. And that's what it boiled down to, whether it was on civil rights, on ethics, and open government. As a reporter, this was the father of sunshine laws in Florida. Giving the people access to government, nothing more fundamental or populist. Just a tremendous legacy to leave.
And of course, it's hard to put words in his own mouth, but if he were to have advice for current lawmakers and lawmakers moving forward, so many issues this state is tackling, medicinal marijuana, same-sex marriage, and these issues, moving forward, what do you think his advice would be to lawmakers?
Well, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but what he told the students was, number one, get involved. He said running for office is very humbling. This is where it happens, and if you don't have good people in government, you're not going to have good government. Government doesn't always have the answers, is what he told the class, but government's job is to get the people in the room who do have the right answers.
Certainly leaving a light behind. Political analyst Kevin Cate, certainly appreciate your insight this noon. Thank you very much. And we've got continuing coverage right now up on our website, WTXL.tv. Many words of condolences pouring in this noon from across the state. You can read more on that. And of course, continuing coverage later tonight on the news at 5. Other news here this noon, school leaders may soon be able to carry firearms on campus in Florida. A Florida House committee has approved a bill that would allow select school officials to carry firearms on campus. Now, there would be some requirements, including particular training that would be required and other standards. The bill also requiring school districts to hold active shooter drills once a year, similar to fire drills. 2 former Florida A&M University leaders facing charges today. Agents with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement telling us FAMU's former Dean of Students, Henry Kirby, and Morris Hawkins, former coordinator of the Student Government Association, each accused of stealing thousands of dollars. That money was set aside in funds to be used to help students go to out-of-town football games. Neither are still employed by FAMU. Kirby retired last month after 30 years as Dean of Students. His attorney, Tim Jansen, tells us they're conducting their own investigation. We've also reached out to Florida A&M University. They've released a statement on the matter. We've got that posted up right now on our website, WTXL.TV. One of the region's most wanted criminals now off the streets after being arrested in Tallahassee by members of the U.S. Marshals Florida Regional Fugitive Task Force. Marshals finding 18-year-old DeMonta Price hiding out at a Tallahassee motel on Wednesday where they arrested him. He and his two brothers are wanted in Albany, Georgia for the murder and robbery of a Georgia man named Jamie Spurlock. Now at noon.
They're going to make a terrible corporate decision if they close down Harvey's. They're going to cause a great deal of resentment in this community.
Larry Hendricks there among those not happy with the company's decision to shut down the Harvey's supermarket on South Monroe Street in Tallahassee. Hendricks joined by other community members here during a community forum Wednesday at Bethel AME Church. Now these people here turning out pleading with BI-LO executives to keep the store open. Those who turned out saying the store on the south side is a vital part of their community, giving back to those in need, even giving jobs to those released from prison and providing a second chance at turning their lives around.
They actually got promoted. And they you know, to see somebody willing to invest in your community and know that you're a hardworking person, you made a mistake, I mean, that's where you put your money at.
This store right now is set to close in May. Well, we are one day away from the grand opening of the highly anticipated Cascades Park. Tomorrow's grand opening going to be featuring staff from Blueprint 2000, City of Tallahassee, Leon County, and you as well. Free event going to be taking place in this park's state-of-the-art amphitheater. Dedication ceremony happening at 10 a.m. Events throughout the day, throughout Friday evening and Saturday to kick off the grand opening. All the details online, WTXL.TV, and some very nice weather for the grand opening here on Friday. Rain, yeah, that was later here on the week. We don't have to worry about that anymore, Michelle.
Yeah, that came just a few days ago, and we are clearing out. High pressure is our friend, as it always is, and it helps to clear us out and give us those sunny skies, but we are definitely on the cooler side. And I start out today showing you some temperatures around this noon hour in the 50s across South Georgia, and really closer to the coastal areas, not too much warmer than that. 57 there in Apalachicola, 54 in Tallahassee, 54 in Perry, and no doubt about it, I mean, you can't miss it, the blinding sun outside. I will mention, though, to the north of our area, some freeze warnings already in place that will be issued starting 10 o'clock tonight till 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, and that's because we are still going to get so much colder as we go throughout the evening hours. Now, temperatures on a rise throughout the afternoon. At least we'll get to the lower 60s in some places. Others may struggle to get out of the upper 50s by 10 o'clock at 52 degrees. The winds, they will be dying down tonight, but that means temperatures will also continue to drop without that cloud coverage. So we're talking about 32 degrees when you wake up tomorrow morning. Don't be surprised if you see some frost there on your windshield and also on the ground. So yeah, bring the jackets back out. You're going to need them. But I'll tell you all about the next warm-up coming up in just a moment. Greg?
All right, Michelle, thank you. Other headlines making news this noon. U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder endorsing a plan to reduce sentences for certain drug offenses. Holder is saying the move could reduce the federal prison population by more than 6,500 inmates in 5 years. He plans to appear before the U.S. Sentencing Commission today to endorse the commission's proposed change. Penalties still going to be tough for violent criminals, all the while finding ways to reduce the cost of federal prison systems, which now holds about 216,000 prisoners. Well, the deadline for filing taxes is about a month away. Certainly going to be a confusing time, but we here at WTXL, we're dedicated to you and dedicated to making sure you've got all your confusing questions about taxes answered. We're teaming up with H&R Block. We're going to have experts from H&R Block here at our studio taking your questions, your phone calls tonight from 5 until 6:30 p.m. It's part of the WTXL Question Center. We've got the details, WTXL.TV. You can start calling in tonight beginning at 5.